The metal detector beeps for the third time in 20 minutes. Niera Collins stands with her arms slightly raised, backpack already on the gray plastic table, while the security guard waves the wand across her shoulders. The shelter smells like bleach and microwaved pasta. Fluorescent lights hum overhead, one of them flickering in a rhythm that matches her heartbeat. "You're good," the guard says, not looking at her face. She grabs her bag and moves toward the cafeteria hallway. Her shoes squeak on the linoleum. Somewhere behind the front desk, a radio crackles dispatch codes she doesn't understand, numbers that mean something to someone else. A woman in a purple sweater sits at the intake counter, clicking through screens on a desktop computer that looks older than Niera. The keyboard sounds sticky. It's 7:14 p.m. Niera walked here from the bus stop near Jefferson Avenue, past the closed dollar store and the church with the boarded windows. Her mother is already at work by now, pushing a cleaning cart through hallways most people never see. Night shift. Federal buildings downtown. Sometimes the Pentagon annex, depending on the schedule. Seraphine Collins doesn't talk much about her job, but she comes home smelling like floor wax and exhaustion. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. The cafeteria line is short tonight. 2 boys ahead of her, both younger, maybe 12 or 13. One of them has a phone out, scrolling through something with his thumb. The volunteer behind the counter wears a hairnet and latex gloves. She's scooping mashed potatoes onto section trays, the kind they use in elementary schools. Niera's stomach tightens. She hasn't eaten since lunch, and lunch was a bag of chips from the vending machine outside the gym. The line moves. The boys take their trays and sit near the windows. Niera steps forward. "Can I get a plate?" she asks. The volunteer doesn't look up. "What's your intake number?" "I don't have one. I just need food." "You need to sign in at the front desk first." Niera glances back toward the entrance. The woman in the purple sweater is on the phone now, her hand pressed against her other ear to block out noise. The line behind Niera is starting to build 3 more kids, all looking at their phones or the floor. "I've been here before," Niera says. "Last week. I didn't need a number then." The volunteer sets down the serving spoon. Her name tag says Brenda. She looks tired in a way that makes her face sag at the edges. New policy. Everyone signs in. No exceptions. But the sign outside says meals until 7:30. Brenda's jaw tightens. Policy changed yesterday. I don't make the rules. Niera feels the weight of the kids behind her. One of them sighs loud enough for everyone to hear. She keeps her voice level, the way her mother taught her. Don't give them a reason. Don't give them anything they can use. "Can I just sign in now?" "It's 7:15. I won't take long. You'll have to go to the desk." Niera turns, walks back to the front. The woman in the purple sweater is still on the phone, nodding at something the other person is saying. Niera waits. The clock on the wall ticks forward. 7:16, 7:17. The woman finally hangs up, but before Niera can speak, a man in khakis and a polo shirt with the shelter's logo steps out from the back office. He's holding a clipboard. His eyes move over Niera like she's something that needs sorting. "Problem?" he asks Brenda, who has followed Niera back to the front. "She wants food, but won't sign in," Brenda says. "I'll sign in," Niera says quickly. "I just didn't know I had to." The man, his name tag reads, "Mr. Dalton." Supervisor looks at the clock. "We're closing intake early tonight. Budget meeting. But it's not 7:30 yet." Early means early. His voice is flat, like he's said this before and expects to say it again. "You can come back tomorrow." Niera's throat tightens. "I haven't eaten since lunch." "That's not a shelter issue. That's a family issue." The words land like a slap. Niera feels her face heat up, the kind of warmth that starts behind her eyes and spreads down her neck. She wants to say something sharp, something that will make him feel as small as she does right now, but her mother's voice is louder in her head. "Don't give them a reason." The sign says 7:30. Niera repeats, quieter this time. Mr. Dalton clicks his pen. "The sign's not the policy. I am." Brenda shifts her weight, glancing at the supervisor like she's waiting for permission to leave. The security guard near the door has stopped scrolling on his phone. He's watching now. Niera can feel the attention in the room narrowing, focusing on her like a spotlight she didn't ask for. "Can I talk to someone else?" Niera asks. "I'm the supervisor." "Then can I see the policy? The one that says you can close early?" Mr. Dalton's face doesn't change, but something in his posture does. His shoulders pull back. His grip on the clipboard tightens. "You're being disrespectful." "I'm not. I'm just asking." "You're talking back." The air in the room shifts. Niera feels it before she understands it, the way the guard straightens up, the way Brenda takes a half step away from her. Mr. Dalton pulls his phone from his pocket. "Last chance," he says. "Leave now, or I'm calling non-emergency." Niera's pulse pounds in her ears. She wants to run. She wants to scream. She wants to disappear. Instead, she does what she's always done. She stands still, hands at her sides, and says nothing. Mr. Dalton dials. The hold music plays faintly through the speaker. Niera stares at the floor. The linoleum has scuff marks near the entrance, black streaks from shoes dragging across the same spot over and over. She counts them while the supervisor talks into his phone. His voice is calm, almost bored. "Yeah, I need an officer at the youth shelter on 9th Street. No emergency, just a non-compliant minor refusing to leave the premises." Niera's chest tightens. Non-compliant, refusing. The words don't match what happened, but she knows it doesn't matter. The story is already being written, and she's not the one holding the pen. The call ends. Mr. Dalton slides his phone back into his pocket. "They'll be here in 5 minutes, he says. "You can wait outside." Niera doesn't move. "Outside," he repeats. She picks up her backpack and walks toward the door. The security guard opens it for her without a word. The evening air is cooler than she expected, sharp against her skin. She stands near the curb, under the streetlight that flickers the same way the one inside does. Her hands are shaking. She shoves them into her hoodie pockets. A police cruiser turns the corner. Its headlights sweep across the shelter's brick wall, and Niera realizes, with a clarity that makes her stomach drop, that she has crossed a line she didn't know existed. What do you think happens when the officers step out of that car? Drop your answer below. The cruiser's engine idles at the curb. 2 officers step out. The first one is tall, white, with a buzz cut and a radio clipped to his shoulder. His name tag reads Radek. The second officer is shorter, thicker around the middle, with a mustache that looks like it's been the same length for 20 years. His tag says home. Neither of them looks rushed. Radek adjusts his belt, the one with the holster and the cuffs and the keys that jangle when he moves. Home glances at his phone before sliding it into his pocket. They walk toward the shelter entrance like they've done this 100 times before. Mr. Dalton meets them at the door. He's smiling now, the kind of smile that doesn't reach his eyes. "Appreciate you coming out. Sorry to waste your time on something small." "No problem," Radek says. His voice is flat, neutral. "What's going on?" Minor refused to comply with facility policy. Wouldn't leave when asked. Home looks past Mr. Dalton, scanning the lobby. "Where is she?" "Outside. Didn't want her causing a scene in here." The officers exchange a glance. Radek nods. They step past Mr. Dalton and walk toward the door. Niera sees them coming and straightens up. Her hands are still in her pockets. Her backpack is slung over one shoulder. Radek stops a few feet away from her. Holmes circles around to her left, not blocking her exactly, but close enough that she'd have to move past him to leave. "Evening," Radek says. "What's your name?" "Niera." "Last name?" "Collins." Holmes pulls out a small notepad and writes it down. His pen scratches against the paper. The sound feels louder than it should. "How old are you, Niera?" Radek asks. 14. "You live around here?" "Couple blocks away." "Parents home?" "My mom's at work." Radek nods, like he's filling in a checklist in his head. "Supervisor says you refuse to leave. That true?" "I didn't refuse. I left when he told me to. But you argued with him first." Niera's jaw tightens. "I asked a question." "What kind of question?" "About the sign." It says meals until 7:30, but they closed early. I just wanted to know why. Radek glances back at the door, where Mr. Dalton is still standing, arms crossed. Shelter's got rules. You gotta follow them. I was trying to, but the rules changed and nobody told me. Holmes steps closer. His boots scuff against the pavement. You getting smart with us now? No, Naira says quickly. I'm just explaining. Sounds like you're making excuses, Holmes says. Radek holds up a hand. Let's keep this simple. You hungry? Naira nods. Okay, but you can't come back here tonight. Policy's policy. You understand? I understand, Naira says. Her voice is small now. Tight. Good. Radek shifts his weight, one hand resting on his belt near the radio. Now, I need you to calm down. I am calm. Don't interrupt me. Naira's mouth snaps shut. Her pulse hammers in her throat. She can feel the shift happening again, the same one from inside the shelter. The air thickening, the space narrowing. Holmes' hand moves to his belt. Not the gun, not the taser, the cuffs. Put your hands where I can see them, he says. They're in my pockets, Naira says. Then take them out. She does. Slowly. Her palms are sweating. Radek steps forward. Turn around. Why? Because I'm telling you to. Naira's breath catches. I didn't do anything. Turn around, Radek repeats. She turns. The brick wall is in front of her now, rough and cold under the streetlight. She hears the clink of metal behind her. Her heart is pounding so hard she thinks it might crack a rib. Hands behind your back, Holmes says. Please, Naira whispers. I'm just hungry. Hands. Behind. Your back. She obeys. The metal is cold when it touches her wrists. The ratchet clicks once, twice, 3 times. Each click tightens the band until it bites into her skin. She winces but doesn't pull away. Pulling away would make it worse. She knows that much. Radek leans in close. His breath smells like coffee and mint gum. You keep talking back. This gets worse. You understand me? Naira nods. Her eyes are burning now, but she won't cry. Not here. Not in front of them. Holmes pulls out his radio and keys the mic. Dispatch. We've got a juvenile detention at the shelter on 9th. Non-compliant minor, no injuries. We're transporting for processing. The radio crackles back. Static. Then a voice. Copy that. Logging the call. Naira's knees feel weak. Processing? For what? Disorderly conduct, Holmes says. I didn't. Stop talking, Radek says. A small crowd has started to gather. 3 people on the corner. A woman with a grocery bag. A man walking a dog. Someone pulls out a phone. The screen glows in the dim light. Back up, Holmes shouts at them. This is official business. The woman with the grocery bag doesn't move. She's a kid, she says. Ma'am, step back or you're interfering. She's a kid. Radek turns toward the woman. Last warning. The woman raises her phone higher. The camera is recording now. Naira can see the red dot in the corner of the screen. Holmes grabs Naira's arm, steering her toward the cruiser. Her feet stumble on the curb, but he doesn't slow down. The back door is already open. He pushes her head down, the way they do in movies, and guides her into the seat. The door slams shut. The sound echoes. Inside the car, the world gets smaller. There's a metal grate between her and the front seats. The vinyl smells like sweat and fast food. There's a stain on the seat next to her, something dark and sticky. Naira presses her back against the door, trying to make herself smaller, trying to disappear. Through the window, she sees Mr. Dalton talking to Radek. He's gesturing with his hands, explaining something. Radek nods. Holmes is still talking to the crowd, his hand on his belt. The woman with the grocery bag hasn't lowered her phone. Naira closes her eyes. Her wrists ache. Her stomach is still empty. And somewhere, miles away, her mother is wiping down a conference table in a building full of people who will never know her name. The engine starts. The cruiser pulls away from the curb. And Naira realizes that the paperwork has already decided what happens next. Do you think anyone will believe her side of the story? Comment your thoughts. The station is quieter, than Naira expected. She sits in a plastic chair bolted to the floor, wrists still cuffed, under a fluorescent light that buzzes louder than the one at the shelter. The walls are beige. The floor is scuffed gray tile. There's a bulletin board near the desk, covered in flyers, missing persons, community meetings, crime prevention tips. A water fountain drips in the corner. Each drop echoes. Radek is at the desk, typing on a computer. His fingers hit the keys hard, like he's angry at the keyboard. Holm is on the phone with someone, his voice low and clipped. Every few seconds, he glances at Naira, then looks away. She hasn't said a word since the car ride. Her throat is too tight. Her mind keeps looping back to the same moment, the sound of the handcuffs clicking shut, the feel of the metal digging into her wrists, the way Mr. Dalton smiled when the officers arrived, like he'd solved a problem. A door opens behind the desk. A woman in a gray uniform steps out, holding a clipboard. She's older, maybe 50, with her hair pulled back in a tight bun. Her name tag reads Sergeant Morales. She looks at Naira for a long moment, then at Radek. "This the juvenile?" she asks. Radek nods. "Detention for disorderly conduct. Non-compliant at a youth shelter." Morales frowns. "She hurt anyone?" "No." "Damage anything?" "No." "Threaten anyone?" "No." But she refused to comply with facility staff and escalated the situation verbally. Morales looks at Naira again. Her eyes are sharp, searching. "How old are you?" 14. Naira says quietly. "Parents notified?" Holm hangs up the phone. "Mother's at work. Left a voicemail." Morales writes something on her clipboard. "What's the charge?" "Disorderly conduct. Minor. No assault? No theft? No destruction of property?" "No." Morales sighs. "Then why is she in cuffs?" Radek stops typing. "She was non-compliant during detainment. She's 14 and weighs maybe 100 pounds. You think she's going to overpower 2 grown men?" Holmes shifts his weight. "Policy says..." "I know what the policy says." Morales cuts him off. "I'm asking why you're following it for a kid who asked for food." The room goes quiet. Naira's chest tightens. She wants to say something, "Thank you," or "Help me," or "Please," but the words won't come. She's afraid if she speaks, the moment will shatter, and Morales will stop asking questions. Radek straightens up. "Are you questioning our judgment, Sergeant?" Morales doesn't blink. "I'm questioning your paperwork. Because right now, this reads like a waste of time." She escalated. "She asked about a sign," Morales says. Her voice is calm, but there's steel underneath it. "And now she's in my station in handcuffs. Do you see the problem here?" Holm opens his mouth, but Morales holds up a hand. "Don't answer that. Just get her uncuffed and call her mother. If she doesn't have charges, she doesn't sit in restraints." Radek's jaw tightens, but he doesn't argue. He walks over to Naira, pulls a key from his belt, and unlocks the cuffs. The metal scrapes against her skin as it comes off. She rubs her wrists. There are red marks where the cuffs press too hard. They'll bruise by morning. "Sit tight," Morales says to Naira. "We'll get you out of here soon." Naira nods. Her voice is still stuck somewhere in her throat. Morales walks back into the office and shuts the door. Radek returns to the desk. Holm leans against the wall, arms crossed. Neither of them looks at Naira. The silence stretches out, thick and uncomfortable. After a few minutes, Radek picks up the phone and dials. It rings, and rings, and rings. He hangs up. "Voicemail again," he mutters. "Try the emergency contact," Holmes says. There isn't one. Naira's stomach drops. Her mother doesn't have an emergency contact. It's just the two of them. Always has been. Radek types something into the computer, then prints a sheet of paper. He hands it to Holmes, who skims it and shakes his head. "No priors," Holmes says. "Clean record?" "Nothing. Not even a school suspension." Radek leans back in his chair. "So what do we do with her?" Holmes shrugs. "Log it and release. Can't hold her if there's no charge. Shelter might not take her back tonight. Not our problem." Naira's breath catches. "Not our problem. She's sitting right there, and they're talking about her like she's a form that needs filing." Radek prints another sheet, signs it, and slides it across the desk to Holm. You log it, I'll do the report. Holm picks up a pen and starts filling out the form. His handwriting is messy, the kind that loops and slants in ways that make it hard to read. Niera watches him write, trying to see what he's putting down, but the angle's wrong. All she can make out are the boxes being checked. Juvenile, female, non-violent, no charges filed. The door to the office opens again. Morales steps out, this time without the clipboard. She walks over to Niera and crouches down so they're at eye level. Your mom's on her way, she says. Shouldn't be more than 30 minutes. Niera's throat loosens just enough to speak. Thank you. Morales nods. You do anything wrong tonight? No. You hurt anyone? No. You steal anything? No. Then don't let these two make you think you did. Morales stands up and looks at Radek. When her mother gets here, I want her walked out. No lectures, no warnings, just out. Radek nods, but his face is tight. Morales disappears back into the office. Niera sits in the plastic chair, hands folded in her lap, and waits. The fluorescent light buzzes. The water fountain drips. The clock on the wall ticks forward, second by second, minute by minute. At 9:47 p.m., the station door swings open. Seraphine Collins steps inside, still wearing her work uniform, navy blue pants, a matching polo shirt, a badge clipped to her belt that says Contracted Facility Services. Her hair is pulled back in a bun, and there are dark circles under her eyes. She looks exhausted. But when she sees Niera, something shifts in her face. Not anger, not relief, calculation. Where are the officers who brought her in? Seraphine asks. Her voice is calm, too calm. Radek stands up. That's me and my partner. Seraphine walks over to the desk. She doesn't look at Niera yet. I need your names and badge numbers. Radek's expression flickers. Ma'am, we were just doing our job. Names and badge numbers. Holmes steps forward. We responded to a call from the shelter. Your daughter was non-compliant. My daughter weighs 98 pounds and hasn't eaten since noon. What exactly was she non-compliant about? She refused to leave when asked. Seraphine pulls out her phone and starts typing. So you handcuffed her. That's protocol for a child asking for food. The room goes quiet again. Radek's hand moves toward his belt, then stops. Holmes shifts his weight. Morales steps out of the office, arms crossed, watching. Seraphine finishes typing and looks up. Badge numbers. Now. Radek recites his number. Holmes does the same. Seraphine types them into her phone without blinking. Thank you, she says. Then she turns to Niera. Get your bag. We're leaving. Niera stands. Her legs feel shaky, but she grabs her backpack and follows her mother toward the door. Seraphine doesn't say goodbye, doesn't thank them, doesn't acknowledge them at all. The door swings shut behind them. Outside, the air is cold. Seraphine stops on the sidewalk and looks at Niera. Her face is still calm, but her hands are trembling. Did they hurt you? She asks. No. Did they touch you anywhere besides the handcuffs? No. Seraphine nods. She pulls Niera into a hug, tight and brief. Then let's go. Get in the car. They walk to the parking lot in silence. Seraphine's sedan is parked under a streetlight, the paint faded and the bumper held on with duct tape. Niera climbs into the passenger seat. Seraphine starts the engine but doesn't drive. She sits there, hands on the wheel, staring at the dashboard. Then she picks up her phone and makes a call. Who are you calling? Niera asks. Seraphine doesn't answer. The line rings twice. Someone picks up. Hi, this is Seraphine Collins. I need to speak to the compliance office. A pause. Yes, I'll hold. Niera watches her mother's face. It's the same face she wears when she's cleaning, focused, methodical, like she's solving a problem one step at a time. The person on the other end comes back. Thank you, Seraphine says. I need to file a formal inquiry regarding a juvenile detention incident involving 2 officers from the 9th Street precinct. Another pause. No, I'm not filing a complaint. Not yet. I'm requesting documentation. Badge numbers are. She recites them from memory. No phone, no notes. I'll need the incident report, the body cam footage, and the shelter's call log. Niera's chest tightens. Mom, what are you doing? Seraphine holds up a finger. Wait. Yes, I understand it takes time. That's fine. I'll follow up in 72 hours. She hangs up. The car is silent except for the hum of the engine. Mom, not now, Seraphine says quietly. We'll talk at home. She shifts the car into drive and pulls out of the parking lot. And as they drive past the station, Niera sees Radek standing in the window, watching them leave. He's not smiling anymore. What do you think Seraphine's next move will be? Drop your prediction below. The car smells like floor wax and lavender air freshener. Niera sits with her backpack on her lap, staring out the window as streetlights slide past in yellow streaks. Her wrists still ache where the handcuffs press too hard. She keeps rubbing them without thinking, tracing the red marks with her thumb. The radio is off. The only sound is the engine and the occasional creak of the suspension when they hit a pothole. Seraphine hasn't said a word since they left the station. Her hands grip the steering wheel tight, knuckles pale under the dashboard light. She's still in her work uniform, the badge clipped to her belt, catching the glow from passing headlights. Her face is calm, but Niera knows her mother well enough to see the tension underneath the way her jaw clenches when she's thinking hard, the way her breathing slows when she's calculating something. They turn onto their street. The houses are small here, cramped together with chain-link fences and yards full of weeds. A dog barks from somewhere down the block. Someone's porch light flickers. Seraphine pulls into the driveway of their rental, a narrow two-bedroom with peeling white paint and a screen door that doesn't close all the way. She cuts the engine but doesn't move. Inside, she says finally. Niera opens the door and steps out. The cold air bites at her skin. She pulls her hoodie tighter and walks up the cracked concrete path to the front door. Seraphine follows, keys jingling in her hand. She unlocks the door and pushes it open. The house is dark, quiet. Seraphine flips the light switch. The living room glows to life, worn couch, coffee table with scratches, a TV on a stand with one broken leg, propped up with a stack of old phone books. The carpet is thin, the kind that shows every stain no matter how many times you scrub it. Niera drops her backpack by the door and stands there, waiting. Seraphine walks into the kitchen without a word. Niera hears the fridge open, the clink of jars and containers, a plate being pulled from the cabinet. When Seraphine comes back, she's holding a sandwich turkey and cheese on white bread, cut in half, with a handful of chips on the side. She sets it on the coffee table. Eat, she says. Niera sits on the couch and picks up half the sandwich. She's so hungry her hands shake. The bread is soft. The turkey is cold. It's the best thing she's tasted all day. She eats quickly, barely chewing, washing it down with water from a plastic cup Seraphine hands her. Seraphine sits in the chair across from her, elbows on her knees, watching. Tell me what happened, she says. From the beginning. Don't leave anything out. Niera swallows the last bite and sets the plate down. Then she talks. She tells her mother about the shelter, about the sign, about Mr. Dalton and the early closing, about asking questions, about the handcuffs, about the ride to the station, about the plastic chair and the fluorescent lights, and the way the officers talked about her like she wasn't even there. Seraphine doesn't interrupt. She listens with the same focus she brings to everything: cleaning, schedules, grocery lists, bills. When Niera finishes, Seraphine leans back in the chair and exhales slowly. They handcuffed you for asking about food, she says. It's not a question. Niera nods. And the supervisor called them. Yeah. Seraphine's jaw tightens. She picks up her phone from the side table and unlocks it. Her fingers move fast, typing something Niera can't see. Then she sets the phone down and looks at her daughter. You didn't do anything wrong, she says. I need you to know that. Then why did they? Because the system isn't built for people like us. It's built to move us through, process us, file us away. Seraphine's voice is calm, but there's an edge underneath it. But the thing about systems is, they run on paperwork, and paperwork leaves a trail. Niera frowns. What does that mean? It means I'm going to follow that trail, all the way to the top if I have to. Mom, you can't. Yes, I can. Seraphine stands up. I clean federal buildings. I've been doing it for 7 years. I know how these places work. I know who to call. I know which offices handle complaints. I know which forms to file. She picks up her phone again. And I know how to make sure this doesn't just disappear. Niera's chest tightens. What if it makes things worse? Worse than handcuffs? Worse than sitting in a police station for something you didn't do? Seraphine shakes her head. No, I'm not letting this go. She walks into the kitchen and comes back with a notebook, the kind with a black cover and lined pages. She flips it open and starts writing. Dates, times, names, badge numbers. Niera watches her mother's hand move across the page, neat and precise. What are you doing? Niera asks. Documenting, Seraphine says without looking up. Everything that happened tonight. Everything you told me. I'm going to write it down while it's fresh. Then I'm going to call the shelter tomorrow and request their incident log. Then I'm going to call the police department and request the body cam footage. Then I'm going to call the compliance office and ask for a review of the detention. They're not going to listen to you. Maybe not at first. But I'll keep calling. I'll keep filing. I'll keep asking questions until someone has to answer. Seraphine looks up. That's the thing about systems, baby. They hate questions. Questions make them uncomfortable. Questions create records, and records create accountability. Niera doesn't say anything. She just watches her mother write page after page until the notebook is half full. By the time Seraphine finishes, it's past midnight. Go to bed, she says. You've got school tomorrow. Niera hesitates. Are you going to sleep? Eventually, Seraphine sets the notebook on the table and leans back in the chair. I've got a few more calls to make first. Mom, it's late. Federal offices are open 24 hours for compliance issues. I'll be fine. Niera stands up, grabs her backpack, and walks toward her room. But before she disappears down the hallway, she stops and looks back. Thank you, she says quietly. Seraphine's face softens. You don't thank me for doing what I'm supposed to do. Niera nods and goes to her room. She closes the door, drops her backpack on the floor, and collapses onto her bed. The mattress is lumpy. The pillow smells like the cheap detergent they buy in bulk. But it's home. It's safe. And for the first time since the handcuffs closed around her wrists, she feels like she can breathe. Through the thin walls, she hears her mother on the phone again. The voice is muffled, but the tone is unmistakable. Calm, steady, relentless. Yes, I'll hold. Niera closes her eyes. Outside, the streetlight flickers. Inside, her mother builds a case one phone call at a time. And somewhere across the city, in a station full of forms and files and forgotten paperwork, a report sits on a desk with Niera's name on it. The report says, non-compliant. The report says, disorderly conduct. The report says, no charges filed. But the report doesn't say what happened in the 30 seconds before the handcuffs went on. It doesn't mention the hunger. It doesn't mention the sign. It doesn't mention the way Officer Raddick leaned in close and told her to shut her mouth. The report is clean. The report is final. And for most people, that would be the end of it. But Seraphine Collins isn't most people. She spent 7 years learning how power works in the places where no one's watching. She knows which doors to knock on. She knows which offices keep records. She knows which forms trigger audits and which phone calls get logged in, systems that can't be erased. She's not loud. She's not angry. She's methodical. And that's more dangerous than rage. Do you think the officers realize what's coming for them? Let us know what you think. The email arrives at 9:13 a.m. on a Tuesday. Officer Raddick is sitting at his desk, scrolling through his phone, when the notification pops up, Internal Affairs, Document Request. He frowns and opens it. The message is short, clinical, the kind of language that doesn't waste words. Request for body cam footage and incident report ref. Detention 10/17. Juvenile, 9th Street Youth Shelter. Compliance review initiated. Response required within 48 hours. He reads it twice. Then he forwards it to Home. "You see this?" he asks. Home is at the coffee machine, pouring himself a third cup. He glances at his phone, scrolls through the email, and shrugs. Standard procedure. Someone probably filed a complaint. For what? We didn't do anything wrong? Doesn't matter. They file, we respond. It gets reviewed, it gets closed. Happens all the time. Radek leans back in his chair. Who files a complaint over a juvenile detention with no charges? Holm takes a sip of coffee. Angry parents, activist groups, lawyers looking for settlements. Could be anyone. The mom didn't seem like the type. What type is that? I don't know. She was calm, didn't yell, didn't threaten, just asked for our badge numbers and left. Holmes sets his coffee down. Calm ones are the worst. They're the ones who know how to navigate the system. Radek's phone buzzes again. Another email, this time from the sergeant. See me before end of shift. He deletes the notification and goes back to scrolling. But the unease sits in his chest like a stone. At the shelter, Mr. Dalton is having a similar morning. He's in his office, door closed, when his phone rings. The caller ID says, City Compliance Office. He answers on the third ring. Dalton. Mr. Dalton, this is Monica Reyes from the City Compliance Office. I'm calling regarding an incident report filed on October 17th involving a juvenile at your facility. Dalton's stomach tightens. What kind of incident? A police detention. We're conducting a routine review. I'll need access to your call logs, intake records, and any internal documentation related to the event. Routine review, Dalton repeats. Is there a problem? Not at this time. We're just gathering information. Can I ask who filed the complaint? I'm not at liberty to say, but I can tell you that this is part of a larger review of shelter policies citywide. You're not the only facility being audited. Dalton relaxes slightly. Okay, when do you need the records? By the end of the week? I'll email you the request form. Got it. The call ends. Dalton sets his phone down and stares at the wall. Routine review. That's what they always say. But routine reviews don't usually come with 48-hour deadlines. He opens his filing cabinet and pulls out the incident log from October. He flips through the pages until he finds the entry for the 17th. The handwriting is his neat, block letters. No emotion. 7:32 p.m. Minor refused to comply with facility closure. Non-emergency police contact initiated. Officers Radek and Holm responded. Minor detained for disorderly conduct. No injuries. No charges filed. Incident closed. He reads it 3 times. It's clean, professional, by the book. But there's something missing. He doesn't remember writing down what the girl said, or what he said, or why he decided to call the police instead of just letting her leave. He closes the log and puts it back in the cabinet. At the police station, Sergeant Morales is in her office with the door locked. She's watching body cam footage on her computer. The timestamp says 19 hours, 34 minutes, and 12 seconds. The video is grainy, the audio crackly, but she can see everything. The shelter, the girl, the handcuffs, the crowd. She rewinds and watches again. At 19 hours, 35 minutes, and 8 seconds, Radek leans in close to the girl. His voice is low, but the mic catches it. Shut your mouth or you'll make this worse. Morales pauses the video. She replays that section 3 more times. Each time, the words are clearer. She opens a new document on her computer and starts typing. Potential policy violation. Use of intimidation tactics on a minor. Recommend further review. She saves the document and attaches it to an email. The recipient is a name most officers never see. Lieutenant Anaya, Internal Oversight. She hits send. Then she deletes the draft from her sent folder, not because she's hiding it, but because she knows how these things work. The email is logged. The timestamp is recorded. Even if she deletes it, the system keeps a copy. That's the point. At 3:47 p.m., Radek gets another email. Mandatory interviews scheduled for 10 over 22 at 14. Internal oversight. Attendance required. He stares at the screen. Mandatory. Not optional. Not routine. Mandatory. He forwards it to home. This doesn't feel routine anymore, he types. Home replies 3 minutes later. Stay calm. Answer the questions. Don't volunteer anything. We'll be fine. But Radek isn't sure. He opens his personnel file on the department's internal database. His record is clean. No complaints, no disciplinary actions, no red flags. Except, there's a note from 6 months ago. Verbal escalation during traffic stop, resolved through retraining. And another from a year before that. Complaint filed by minor's parent. Investigated. No action taken. He closes the file. His hands are shaking. Across town, Seraphine Collins is sitting in her car outside the Pentagon annex. Her shift ended 20 minutes ago, but she hasn't driven home yet. She's on her phone, scrolling through a document she requested 3 days ago. It's a shelter policy manual, 96 pages. Most of it is standard procedure intake forms, meal schedules, emergency protocols. But on page 47, buried in a section titled Staff Discretion, there's a clause: facility supervisors may adjust operational hours in response to staffing shortages or budgetary constraints, provided notice is posted at least 24 hours in advance. Seraphine highlights the sentence. Then, she opens her email and attaches the manual to a new message. The recipient is the same compliance officer she's been calling for the past week. Subject line: Policy violation. 9th Street Youth Shelter. Body. Attached is the shelter's policy manual. Page 47, section 6.3 states that operational changes require 24-hour notice. On 10/17, the facility closed early with no prior notice. This directly contradicts their own policy. I am requesting a formal investigation into whether this violation contributed to the unlawful detention of a minor. She reads it twice. Then she hits send. The response comes back in less than an hour. Request received. File opened. Reference number C20241-847. Seraphine saves the email. Then she opens her notebook and writes down the reference number in neat block letters. C20241-847. It's just a number. Just a code in a system that processes thousands of complaints every year. But it's a number that now exists. And numbers don't disappear. That night, Nayera is at the kitchen table doing homework when her mother comes home. Seraphine sets her bag down and walks to the fridge. She pulls out leftovers and starts reheating them in the microwave. The hum of the machine fills the silence. "How was school?" Seraphine asks. "Fine. Anyone ask about what happened?" "No." Seraphine nods. She pulls the food out, sets it on the counter, and sits down across from Nayera. They opened a file. Nayera looks up. "What does that mean?" "It means they're investigating. The shelter, the officers, all of it." "And then what?" "Then we wait." Nayera frowns. "That's it? We just wait?" "That's how it works. They gather evidence. They review policies. They interview people. And then they decide whether or not to take action." "What if they don't?" Seraphine's jaw tightens. "Then I file another complaint, and another, and another, until someone listens." Nayera stares at her mother. "You really think this is going to work?" "I don't know," Seraphine says honestly, "but I know what happens if I don't try." She picks up her fork and starts eating. Nayera goes back to her homework. Outside, the streetlight flickers. Inside, the hum of the refrigerator fills the space between them. And somewhere in a government database, a file grows larger. One document at a time. One email at a time. One reference number at a time. Will the investigation lead to justice? Or will it be buried like so many others? What do you think happens next? The keyboard clicks echo in the empty break room. Seraphine sits at a folding table under flickering fluorescent lights, her work badge still clipped to her belt, a half-eaten sandwich pushed to the side. Her phone is propped against a water bottle, screen glowing. She's on hold. Again. The muzak loops through the same 30-second melody for the fourth time. She doesn't hang up. She never hangs up. Her shift ended an hour ago, but the office building is still open. The Pentagon Annex runs on schedules most people never see: late meetings, classified briefings, maintenance crews that work when everyone else is asleep. Seraphine knows the rhythm. She's cleaned these halls long enough to understand how things move here. Who walks where? Who answers which phones? Who keeps records and who makes them disappear? The hold music cuts off. Compliance desk. This is Trevor. Seraphine sits up straighter. Hi, this is Seraphine Collins. I'm following up on reference number C20241-847. One moment. The sound of typing. Okay, I've got it here. What's your question? I filed a request for documentation 3 days ago. I haven't received confirmation that the shelter's call log was pulled. Let me check. More typing. A pause. It shows here that the request was forwarded to the city's records department. They have 5 business days to respond. That's fine, but I also requested body cam footage from the police department. That should be handled separately, right? Correct. That goes through internal oversight. And have they responded? Not yet, but they have 48 hours from the time they received the request. Seraphine writes the timeline in her notebook. So, by Friday, yes ma'am, thank you. She pauses. One more thing. If the footage shows a policy violation, what happens next? Trevor hesitates. That's not really my area, but typically, if a violation is flagged, it gets escalated to a review board. They determine whether disciplinary action is warranted. And how long does that take? Depends on the severity. Could be a few weeks. Could be a few months. Seraphine's pen stops moving. Months. Unfortunately, yes. These things take time. Right. Thank you. She hangs up before he can say anything else. The break room is quiet again. She stares at her notebook. The pages are full now. Dates, times, names, reference numbers, phone extensions. Everything documented. Everything tracked. But it's not enough. She picks up her phone and scrolls through her contacts. There's a name near the bottom. Darnell, facilities manager. She hesitates, then taps the call button. He answers on the second ring. Seraphine? Everything okay? I need a favor. What kind of favor? The kind that stays off the books. There's a long pause. What are you into? Nothing illegal. I just need access to someone who handles federal grant compliance. For what? My daughter was detained by police 2 weeks ago. No charges, no cause. Just a shelter supervisor who didn't like being questioned. I'm filing complaints, but it's moving too slow. I need someone who can light a fire under the right desk. Darnell exhales slowly. You know what you're asking? Yeah. And you're sure about this? Positive. Another pause. I know someone. Works in the Office of Juvenile Affairs. Handles funding reviews for youth programs. If there's a pattern of policy violations, she can flag it for expedited review. Can you get me her contact? I'll text it to you. But Seraphine, be careful. Once you start pulling threads, people notice. Let them notice. She hangs up and waits. 2 minutes later, her phone buzzes. A text from Darnell. A name and an email address. Kendra Vaughn, Federal Oversight Coordinator. Seraphine opens her email app and starts typing. Subject: Request for expedited review. Juvenile detention incident. Body: Miss Vaughn, my name is Seraphine Collins. My 4-year-old daughter was unlawfully detained on October 17 after requesting food at a city-funded youth shelter. The shelter violated its own posted policy by closing early without notice, then called police when my daughter asked why. She was handcuffed, transported to a station, and held for 2 hours without charges. I have filed multiple complaints with city compliance and internal affairs, but the process is moving too slowly. I am requesting an expedited review of the shelter's federal funding eligibility, as well as an audit of police conduct involving juveniles at that location. Attached are incident reports, body cam request confirmations, and policy documentation. reference number C20241-847. She attaches 7 files. Then she reads the email 3 times before hitting send. The response comes faster than she expected. 30 minutes later, her phone buzzes. Miss Collins, I've reviewed your submission. I'm forwarding this to our Juvenile Compliance Division for priority review. You should receive a response within 10 business days. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. Kayvon. Seraphine stares at the screen. 10 business days. Not months, not weeks. Days. She closes her laptop and gathers her things. The break room is still empty. The hallway outside is dim. She walks toward the exit, badge swinging from her belt, and pushes through the heavy glass doors into the cold night air. Her car is parked under a streetlight, 3 rows back. She climbs in, starts the engine, and sits there for a moment. Her hands are steady now. Her breathing is even. She's not done yet. But for the first time since the handcuffs closed around her daughter's wrists, she feels like she's not fighting alone. Somewhere in a federal office, an email is being read. Somewhere in a database, a reference number is being flagged. Somewhere in a system that wasn't built for people like her, a crack is starting to form. And Seraphine Collins is going to keep pushing until it breaks wide open. Do you think the system will finally listen, or will it protect its own? Drop your thoughts below. The memo lands on Lieutenant Anaya's desk at 8:47 a.m. It's not marked urgent. It doesn't have red flags or bold letters. It's just another piece of paper in a stack of reports that never seems to shrink. But when Anaya opens it, she stops scrolling through her email and reads it twice. Federal Oversight, Juvenile Compliance Division request. Audit of police conduct at 9th Street Youth Shelter. Multiple incidents flagged. Pattern recognition initiated. She sets the memo down and picks up her phone. 3 rings later, someone answers. Morales. Sergeant, it's Anaya. You filed a report 2 weeks ago about a juvenile detention. 9th Street Shelter. Officers Raddick and Holm. Yeah. What about it? Federal Oversight just requested an audit. They're saying there's a pattern. Morales sits up straighter. A pattern of what? Juvenile detentions. Excessive force complaints. Verbal escalation. They're pulling records going back 18 months. 18 months? Yeah. And Raddick's name shows up 4 times. Holmes shows up twice. Morales exhales slowly. I didn't know it was that many. Nobody did. That's the problem. These things get filed, reviewed, and closed. No one's connecting the dots. Anaya flips through the memo, but now someone is. Who requested the audit? A federal compliance officer, Kendra Vaughn. Ever heard of her? No, neither have I. But she's got pull. This isn't going through normal channels. It's priority review. Morales leans back in her chair. What do you need from me? Everything you've got on that detention. Body cam footage, incident reports, witness statements. And I need it by end of day. You'll have it in an hour. Anaya hangs up. She opens her computer and pulls up Raddick's personnel file. The record looks clean at first glance, no suspensions, no major infractions. But when she scrolls deeper, the notes start to appear. Complaint filed by parent, minor detained during traffic stop, investigated, no action taken. Verbal altercation with juvenile during school disturbance call, retraining recommended. Use of force report, minor restrained, during shoplifting incident. Justified, under protocol, 4 incidents, 4 different cases, 4 minors. And every single one was closed without discipline. Anaya opens Holmes' file next. His record is shorter, but the pattern is there. Complaint filed. Excessive detention time for non-violent juvenile. Resolved through mediation. Body cam review flagged. Tone and language during interaction with minor. Supervisor counseling provided. She closes the files and stares at her screen. Individually, none of these incidents would trigger a review. But together, they paint a picture. And now that picture is being handed to someone with the authority to do something about it. At the shelter, Mr. Dalton is in his office when the call comes in. Mr. Dalton, This is Marcus Greenfield from the City Grants Office. I'm calling to inform you that your facility's federal funding is being suspended pending review. Dalton's stomach drops. Suspended? For how long? Indefinitely. We received a request from the Federal Juvenile Compliance Division to audit your operational procedures. Until that audit is complete, all federal funds are frozen. That's 60% of our operating budget. I understand, but this is non-negotiable. What did we do wrong? I can't discuss the specifics, but I can tell you that the review is focused on policy enforcement and interactions with law enforcement. Dalton's hands start to shake. This is about the girl, isn't it? There's a pause. I can't confirm or deny that, but it is. Greenfield doesn't answer. Dalton hangs up and sits there, staring at the wall. His phone rings again almost immediately. He ignores it. It rings twice more before he finally picks up. Dalton. It's Brenda. The city inspector just showed up. She's asking for the call logs. Give them to her. All of them? Everything. He hangs up and opens his desk drawer. Inside is the incident log from October. He pulls it out and flips to the 17th. His handwriting stares back at him. Minor refused to comply. Police contacted. No charges filed. It's the truth. But it's not the whole truth. And now, someone's going to ask for the rest of it. At the police station, Radek is in the interview room. Across from him sits a woman in a gray suit with a briefcase open on the table. Her name is Agent Lorraine Fisher. She works for internal oversight. She doesn't smile when she introduces herself. Officer Radek, thank you for coming in. I didn't have a choice. True. She pulls a folder from her briefcase. I'm here to discuss an incident that occurred on October 17th at the 9th Street Youth Shelter. Do you remember it? Yeah. Walk me through what happened. Radek recounts the call. The shelter supervisor. The girl refusing to leave. The handcuffs. The transport. The release. Fisher listens without interrupting. When he finishes, she opens the folder and pulls out a printed transcript. This is from your body cam footage. At timestamp 19 hours 35 minutes and 8 seconds, you said the following to the minor. Shut your mouth or you'll make this worse. Is that accurate? Radek's jaw tightens. I don't remember saying that. The audio is clear. Then I guess I said it. Why? She was escalating. I was trying to get her to calm down. By threatening her? I didn't threaten her. I gave her a directive. Fisher sets the transcript down. Officer Radek, you detained a 14-year-old girl for asking about food. You handcuffed her. You transported her to a station. You held her for 2 hours without charges. And during that process, you told her to shut her mouth. Do you see the problem here? Radek doesn't answer. Fisher leans forward. This is the 4th complaint filed against you in 18 months, involving interactions with minors. 4 different cases, 4 different families, all with similar patterns: verbal escalation, unnecessary detention, no charges filed. Do you think that's a coincidence? I follow protocol. Protocol doesn't include intimidation. I wasn't intimidating anyone. The body cam footage disagrees. Fisher closes the folder. This case is being escalated to a review board. You'll be notified of the hearing date within 2 weeks. In the meantime, you're being reassigned to desk duty. For how long? Until the board makes a decision. Radek stands up. This is ridiculous. No, Officer Radek. This is accountability. He walks out of the room without another word. Fisher stays seated, pulling out her phone. She sends a text to Kendra Vaughn. Interview complete. Recommend full disciplinary review. Will forward findings by end of week. The response comes back immediately. Received. Audit moving forward. Thank you. Fisher closes her briefcase and leaves the station. Outside, the sky is gray. The air smells like rain. And somewhere across the city, Seraphine Collins is at work, pushing a cleaning cart through a hallway lined with closed doors. She doesn't know about the interview yet. She doesn't know about the audit. She doesn't know that the memo she sent 3 days ago has already started dismantling the system that tried to erase her daughter. But she will, because the system keeps records. And records don't lie. Is this the beginning of justice or just another delay? What do you think happens next? The letter arrives on a Wednesday. Officer Radek opens his mailbox after his shift and pulls out a stack of junk mail, bills, and one plain white envelope with no return address. He tears it open in his driveway. The letter inside is short, clinical, the kind of language that doesn't waste words. Notice of termination, effective immediately, failure to meet professional standards, right to appeal within 30 days. He reads it 3 times. Then he crumples it in his fist and throws it into the passenger seat of his car. Inside his apartment, he pours himself a drink and sits on the couch. His phone buzzes. A text from home. "Did you get a letter?" Radek replies, "Yeah, me too. Reassignment. Different precinct. Effective next week." Radek stares at the screen. Home isn't being fired, just moved. Different rules for different people. He sets his phone down and finishes his drink. Then he pours another. By the time the sun sets, the bottle is half empty. At the shelter, Mr. Dalton is packing his office. The city sent a replacement supervisor 2 days ago, a woman named Janelle Reeves, with 20 years of experience and a reputation for running tight operations. She didn't ask Dalton for a transition meeting. She just walked in, introduced herself, and started rewriting policies. Dalton loads the last box into his car and drives home without looking back. He doesn't get a termination letter. He gets a resignation offer, the kind that comes with a severance package and a non-disclosure agreement. He signs it the same day. By Friday, the shelter has new rules posted on the wall. No child denied a meal for any reason. No police contact for food-related incidents. All policy changes require 72-hour notice. The sign is laminated, professional, permanent. Brenda, the volunteer, reads it twice before going back to serving mashed potatoes. At the police station, Sergeant Morales is in her office when Lieutenant Anaya stops by. Federal audit came back, Anaya says. Shelter lost its grant. Radek's terminated. Homes reassigned. Case closed. Morales nod. Good. You filed the original report. Thought you'd want to know. I appreciate it. Anaya lingers in the doorway. You think this changes anything? For that girl? Maybe. For the next one? I don't know. Cynical. Realistic. Anaya leaves. Morales goes back to her paperwork. But before she closes the file, she pulls up Niera's intake photo from the night of the detention. The girl's face is tight. Her eyes are red. Her wrists have marks from the handcuffs. Morales saves the photo to a folder labeled Closed Cases. Then she deletes it from the server. Not because she's hiding it, but because she knows what happens to evidence when cases are closed. It gets archived. It gets forgotten. And she doesn't want this one forgotten. She prints the photo and slides it into her desk drawer, just in case. At home, Seraphine is reading an email when Niera walks into the kitchen. Mom? Seraphine looks up. Yeah? Did it work? Seraphine closes her laptop. What do you mean? The complaints, the calls, all of it. Did it work? Seraphine stands up and walks over to her daughter. She pulls her into a hug, tight, brief, the kind that says more than words. One of the officers was fired. The other was reassigned. The shelter lost its funding, and they changed the rules. Niera pulls back. So it's over? For us? Yeah. For everyone else? Seraphine shrugs. I don't know. But at least now there's a record. At least now people know what happened. Niera nods. She doesn't smile. She doesn't cry. She just stands there, processing. Are you okay? Seraphine asks. I don't know yet. That's fair. They sit at the table together. Seraphine reheats leftovers. Niera does her homework. Outside, the streetlight flickers. Inside, the hum of the refrigerator fills the silence. Later that night, Seraphine gets a call from Kendra Vaughn. Ms. Collins, I wanted to let you know that the audit is complete. The shelter's funding has been suspended indefinitely. The officers involved have been disciplined, and we're implementing new training protocols citywide for juvenile interactions. Thank you, Seraphine says. No, thank you. Most people don't follow through like you did. Most people give up. I couldn't. I know. And that's why this worked. Seraphine hangs up and sits in the dark for a long time. She thinks about the handcuffs, the station, the paperwork, the phone calls, the emails, the reference numbers, the waiting. She thinks about all the other mothers who didn't have access to the Pentagon annex, who didn't know which offices to call, who didn't have the time or the energy or the knowledge to fight back. She thinks about all the other kids who got handcuffed and forgotten, and she wonders how many of them are still waiting for someone to notice. The next morning, Naira wakes up to the smell of pancakes. She walks into the kitchen and finds her mother at the stove, flipping batter onto a griddle. There's orange juice on the table, butter, syrup, a plate already set. "What's this for?" Naira asks. "Nothing. Just felt like cooking." Naira sits down and eats. The pancakes are warm. The syrup is sweet. It's the best breakfast she's had in weeks. When she finishes, she looks at her mother. "Are you going to keep doing this?" "Doing what?" "Fighting. For other people." Seraphine sets down her spatula. "I don't know. Maybe. If I can, you should." Seraphine smiles. "We'll see." Naira grabs her backpack and heads for the door. Before she leaves, she stops and looks back. "Thank you," she says. "For what?" "For not letting them forget me." Seraphine's throat tightens. "I never could." Naira leaves. The door clicks shut. Seraphine stands in the kitchen alone, staring at the empty plate. And for the first time in weeks, she doesn't feel angry. She just feels tired. But it's the good kind of tired. The kind that comes from knowing you did everything you could. The kind that comes from winning. Do you think justice was truly served? Or is there more to the story? Let us know in the comments. The shelter looks different now. Naira stands outside the entrance, hands shoved in her hoodie pockets, staring at the new sign on the wall. The words are bold, clear, impossible to miss. No child denied a meal for any reason. She reads it twice. Then she walks inside. The lobby is the same gray tile, metal detector, intake desk. But the woman behind the desk isn't the one in the purple sweater. This woman is younger, with box braids and a name tag that says Kimberly. She looks up when Naira approaches. "Hi," Kimberly says. "You here for a meal?" Naira nods. "Okay. I just need your first name and age." "Naira, 14. Kimberly writes it down on a clipboard. "You're all set. Cafeteria's through that hallway. We're serving until 8 tonight." Naira hesitates. "What if I come in at 7:59? Kimberly smiles. "Then you'll still get fed." Naira doesn't smile back, but something in her chest loosens. She walks down the hallway. The fluorescent lights still flicker. The linoleum still squeaks under her shoes, but the air feels different, lighter. The cafeteria is half full. A few kids her age, a couple of younger ones. No one looks at her when she walks in. No one stares. She's just another person in line. The volunteer behind the counter is new too, a man with gray hair and a kind face. He's scooping mashed potatoes onto trays, the same sectioned trays they've always used. "What can I get you?" he asks. "Everything," Naira says quietly. He fills her tray. Mashed potatoes, green beans, a roll, a piece of chicken, a cup of fruit. It's more food than she's seen in one place in weeks. She carries the tray to a table near the window and sits down. The chair is cold. The tray is heavy. She picks up her fork and takes a bite. The potatoes are warm, buttery. The chicken is a little dry, but she doesn't care. She eats slowly, chewing each bite, letting the weight of the food settle in her stomach. No one interrupts her. No one asks her to leave. No one calls the police. She finishes the meal and stares at the empty tray. Then she carries it to the dish station and walks back toward the exit. Kimberly is still at the desk. She looks up as Naira passes. "Have a good night," she says. Naira nods. "You too." She pushes through the glass doors and steps outside. The air is cold. The streetlight flickers. Her mother's car is parked at the curb, engine idling. Niera climbs into the passenger seat and closes the door. Seraphine looks at her. How was it? Different. Good different? Yeah. Seraphine shifts the car into drive and pulls away from the curb. They ride in silence for a few blocks. Then Niera speaks. Do you think it'll last? What? The new rules, the signs, all of it. Seraphine doesn't answer right away. She stares at the road, hands steady on the wheel. I don't know, but at least now there's a record. At least now people know what happened. And that's more than there was before. Niera nods. She stares out the window as the city slides past. The same streets, the same buildings, the same broken sidewalks and flickering lights. But something's different now. Not fixed, not perfect, just different. When they get home, Seraphine parks in the driveway and cuts the engine. But she doesn't get out. She just sits there, hands still on the wheel, staring at the dashboard. Mom? Seraphine turns. Yeah? Thank you. Seraphine's face softens. You don't have to thank me. I know, but I want to. They sit in the car for another minute. Then Seraphine opens her door and steps out. Niera follows. Inside, the house is warm. The lights are on. The TV is playing a rerun of some old sitcom neither of them is watching. Seraphine kicks off her shoes and collapses onto the couch. Niera sits next to her. They don't talk. They don't need to. Outside, the streetlight flickers. Inside, the hum of the refrigerator fills the silence. And for the first time in weeks, Niera feels like she can breathe. Not because everything is fixed, but because someone fought for her and won. Does justice always feel this quiet, or is there something still unresolved? Share your thoughts below. The question doesn't go away. Weeks pass, then months. Niera goes back to school. Her mother goes back to work. The shelter keeps serving meals. The new rules stay on the wall. The officers don't come back, but the question lingers. How many others? How many kids asked for food and got handcuffs instead? How many mothers didn't know which office to call? How many cases got filed, reviewed, and closed without anyone noticing the pattern? Seraphine thinks about it every time she pushes her cleaning cart through the Pentagon annex. Every time she passes a closed door, every time she hears a phone ring in an office she's not allowed to enter. She thinks about the fact that she only won because she had access, because she knew the system, because she had the time and the energy and the knowledge to fight back. And she wonders what happens to everyone who doesn't. One night, she's sitting at the kitchen table with her notebook open. The pages are full now. Every call logged, every email saved, every reference number documented. Niera walks in and sits down across from her. You're still thinking about it, Niera says. Yeah, about what happened? About what didn't happen to other people. Niera frowns. What do you mean? Seraphine closes the notebook. I mean, we got lucky. I had access to people most folks don't. I knew who to call. I knew how to file complaints. I knew how to follow up. But most people don't. Most people just get processed, and the system moves on. So what do we do about it? Seraphine looks at her daughter. I don't know yet, but I'm thinking about it. The next day, Seraphine makes a call. Kendra Vaughn. Miss Vaughn, this is Seraphine Collins. We spoke a few months ago about my daughter's case. Of course, how can I help you? I've been thinking. My daughter's case got resolved because I knew how to navigate the system. But what about the people who don't? What about the kids who get detained and forgotten because their parents don't know who to call? There's a pause. That's a good question. Is there a way to track that? To see how many cases like this happen every year? There is, but it's not something most people can access. Can you? Another pause. Potentially. Why? Because if there's a pattern, people need to know about it. And if there's not a pattern, people need to know that too. Kendra is quiet for a long moment. You're asking me to pull data on juvenile detentions citywide. I'm asking you to see if what happened to my daughter is normal, or if it's an outlier. And if it's normal, then we do something about it. Kendra exhales. Give me 2 weeks. The call ends. Seraphine sets her phone down and stares at the notebook. 2 weeks later, the email arrives. Subject: Data request. Juvenile detention incidents. Attachment: JDI. Analysis: 2023 negative. 2024 PDF. Seraphine opens the file. It's 43 pages. Most of it is graphs and charts, but the summary on page 2 is clear. Over the past 18 months, there have been 127 documented juvenile detentions related to food access incidents at city-funded shelters. Of those, 89% involved minors under the age of 16. Of those, 76% involved Black or Latinx children. Of those, 0 resulted in criminal charges. Seraphine reads it 3 times. 77 kids. 0 charges. She forwards the email to Darnell, then to Morales, then to every reporter whose contact information she can find online. By the end of the week, the story breaks. Not loudly, not dramatically, just a small article in the local paper. City shelters under review for juvenile detention practices. But it's enough, because now the question isn't just about Niera, it's about all of them. At home, Niera is watching TV when her mother walks in. "Did you see the article?" Seraphine asks. "Yeah. What do you think?" Niera shrugs. "I think it's a start." "Just a start?" "Yeah, because the rules changed at one shelter. But what about the others? What about the next kid who gets handcuffed for asking a question?" Seraphine sits down next to her. "You're right, it's not enough. So what do we do?" "We keep going." Niera looks at her mother. "You're not tired?" "I'm exhausted, but I'm not done." They sit in silence for a moment. Then Niera speaks. "I don't think I'll ever forget what happened." "You shouldn't, but I don't want to be angry about it forever." Seraphine nods. "Then don't be. Be informed, be aware, be ready, but don't let it eat you alive." Niera thinks about that. "Is that what you're doing?" "I'm trying." They sit together until the sun sets. The streetlight flickers outside. The refrigerator hums inside. And somewhere across the city, another shelter posts a new sign on its wall. "No child denied a meal for any reason." It's not perfect. It's not enough. But it's more than there was before. And maybe that's all justice ever is. Not a moment, not a victory, just a slow, grinding process of making things slightly less broken than they were yesterday. The system doesn't apologize. It doesn't celebrate. It just adjusts and moves on. And the people it hurt, they adjust too. They move on too. But they don't forget. Because forgetting is what lets it happen again. Seraphine Collins closes her notebook and sets it on the shelf. Not because she's done, but because she's documented everything she needs to. The rest is up to the people who come after. The ones who will ask the same questions. The ones who will demand the same answers. The ones who will refuse to let the system erase them. And somewhere, in a city full of broken systems and forgotten kids, a 14-year-old girl eats a meal without fear. Not because the world is fixed, but because someone fought for her, and that fight left a mark the system can't erase. What do you think happens to the next child who asks for help? Will the system protect them, or will history repeat itself? We want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If this story moved you, inspired you, or made you think differently about justice, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another story that challenges, uplifts, and reminds us all that change starts with one person refusing to stay silent. Your voice matters. Use it.